I can't stand the thought of not being in the arena when it comes to my art. My name is Mackenzie. I'm an artist and a pattern designer. I license my artwork, and today we are going to talk about developing your art and building an art business as a busy stay-at-home mom. And let me just tell you, yes, it is possible. Whew. I just saw my daughter under the bus. It's like 6:30 in the morning, and it's February 3rd, I think, and it's cold outside. So a year and a half ago, I decided to start an art business out of my art, and it's been slow and steady. One thing is for sure, it is tricky trying to be an artist and make something of your art when you are a mom. I think it's tricky for everyone. Everyone's busy. Everyone's got stuff going on. You're either working full time or caring for somebody or taking care of children or working and a mom. You're in school. There's so many things that just keep us busy. But my experience has been, it is definitely possible to dedicate time to your art and to start an art business, no matter how little time you have. So just a little bit about me. My husband and I have been married for almost 17 years, and we have 3 kids. We have a 15-year-old just turning 15, and a 9-year-old and a 3-year-old. And so we're kind of spread out. We've got the toddler, we've got the elementary aged kid, and we've got the teenager. And we homeschool our second, and which means my 3-year-old and my 9-year-old are home with me all day, every day. So between early mornings, getting my oldest onto the bus, which comes really early, to bedtimes, getting my toddler down and getting her to stay in her bed at night, and everything in between, homeschool and housework and serving in my church and everything else, there's not a lot of free time. But over the last year and a half, I have found that there are definitely chunks of time that can be found to dedicate time to your art. So for example, today I got up at 5 in the morning to film a couple of YouTube videos. So in terms of YouTube, sometimes the videos I make have less to do with the type of content I want to make and more to do with the type of content that I'm able to make that week. So I didn't want to be up in my studio painting this morning and talking because the studio is right next to my kids' bedrooms, and I didn't want to wake up my toddler before she needed to wake up. So this morning, I decided to film talking head videos down in my family room. Yeah, so the first thing is you need to know your why. You need to know why you are going to make it a priority. So if you're a really busy person, but you know you want to dedicate time to developing your art and possibly making money out of it, the first step that you need to take is to understand your why. Once you understand your why and you know how strongly you feel about it, you're going to be able to make becoming an artist or developing your art or making money with your art a high enough priority in your life so that you will actually make it happen. That's what happened for me. Once I decided just how important it was to me, I was able to fit it in wherever I could. The second thing you need to do is to look at all of your other priorities, and you need to see where in that list of priorities your art lies. If it's too low, you're not going to make time for it. Just like I did with YouTube this last year and a half. It was a priority, but I really struggled to get myself to do it. I didn't really want to do it last year. And because it was a low priority, I just didn't really ever get to it. But this year I set out to make it one of my top priorities. And so far I've been consistent getting a video out every week. It's all about where in the list of priorities your art lies. Depending on the level of priority, you're going to figure out how much time you can dedicate to your art. So for me, even though I'm a stay-at-home mom, homeschooling, and I have multiple kids, I'm still able to dedicate close to a couple of hours a day or night to building my art business and to working on my art. Today's a Monday. I woke up at 5 a.m. and I started filming, and I've been filming on and off for about an hour. So I will probably get in a couple hours this morning before my kids wake up. And then during the day today, let's say we're going to be homeschooling. We're going to be focusing on some physical fitness. We may go and play some basketball. We have housework, chores. What else? It's actually not that busy of a day. We're home most of the day, but hoping to fit in, getting cleaned up and ready for the day at some point. But I may be able to fit in an hour. So during the day while my kids are busy or distracted or playing or watching a movie. And then usually tonight after my kids go to bed, I will go up into my studio and work for an hour or 2. So on the best days, I'm working maybe up to 4 hours, 5 hours. on my art business and on my art. And then some days it's as little as half an hour. But I pretty much work on my art and my business every single day without fail. Except I do try to take Sundays as a day of rest. So the higher it is in your list of priorities, the more likely you're going to get to it. The next thing that you need to recognize is what you are willing to sacrifice in order to make your art a priority. So for me, what this looks like is sacrificing most of the unwinding periods in the evenings after my kids go to bed. So thankfully, I developed this skill of sacrificing my evenings when I went back to school as a mom, when I went back to school online. I basically said goodbye to most of my evenings because I just dedicated them to earning my bachelor's degree. That was really hard. And I'll tell you, doing that was one of the best things I've ever done, because now I have this habit of just putting my kids to bed and then getting to work on something. And the beauty of it, though, is sitting down at my laptop to work on homework was I never felt like doing it, and it was so. But now I always feel like working on my art and my art business. So as soon as I put my kids to bed, I'm so excited to go and work on it in my studio. But it still does take some grit, and it does take some dedication, because there are days where I'm tired and I think, well, it would be nice to just go and sit down with my husband and watch a show right now. But that's not going to move the needle. And so it is important to have balance. And there are evenings where I do get to sit down with my husband and we hang out and relax and watch shows. So that is important. But doing that every single night is not going to help me reach my goals and my dreams. So there are a few things that I sacrifice. The first one, like I mentioned, are most evenings of relaxation and unwinding. I do that, but it tends to happen after 10:30 or 11 at night, which leads me to my next sacrifice. The next thing I sacrifice is sleep. Some people may argue that that's not a very good idea, not a very wise move, but right now that's just where we're at in life. So I love my sleep, but right now, because there is not a lot of time during the day, my kids aren't gone at school all day, I have to work into the night or early in the morning, which means most nights I'm probably not getting enough sleep. I'll sleep when I'm dead. I'm just kidding. But right now I am willing to sacrifice some sleep so that I can develop my art and build my art business. The third thing that I sacrifice is trying to have a perfect house. So, back when Pinterest was brand new, I think I first got on Pinterest in 2010. That was even before Instagram. Then Instagram came, and then suddenly everyone was supposed to try and have these perfectly picture-perfect, Pinterest-perfect homes. And I had this expectation that my house had to always be clean, even with toddlers around and kids. And maybe I was failing if I had piles of laundry or piles of dishes in the sink. Although I've always hated doing the dishes. If you know me, you know I've always hated doing the dishes. But a year ago, when I started really focusing on art, I was struggling because I would put the kids to bed and I'd think, okay, there's this big pile of laundry, or I should go do the dishes right now. And so I was feeling this struggle. And one day it hit me, and I think it was after reading a poem called Dust If You Must by Rose Milligan. And if you haven't read it, it's really good. Go look it up. But basically she said, dust if you must, but wouldn't it be better if you painted a picture or wrote a letter? And I probably am butchering it, but basically she was saying that the dishes, the laundry, the house will keep. The piles will be there in the morning when it's a better time to work on it. And so that's when it really hit me that I could spend my evenings cleaning my house, or I could spend my evenings building an art business. And obviously, again, it's all about balance. I don't want my family to live in squalor. I don't want it to be a dump. I do want my home to be clean and to look nice, and I want it to be a nice place for us to be in. But I literally could spend all of my days just cleaning. But in the end, what would I have to show for it? And so coming back to priorities, I realized that if I wanted to build an art business, art needed to be a higher priority sometimes than cleaning my house, than housework. So at that point, I kind of let myself be okay with some of the messes at certain times. I said, okay, I will clean this. We will get to it. But right now, in this moment, I'm going to allow myself to go work on my art. And then later at this time, then I will work on that when it is better for that. But right now, it is better for my art. And again, It's all about balance. It's going to look different for everybody, but that's how it has worked for me. So know your why, make it a high enough priority, recognize what you're willing to sacrifice. And then the fourth thing is to put yourself in the arena. Just do it. Don't be afraid to fail, because you are going to fail. No one ever succeeds constantly. Be willing to fail, be willing to make mistakes, and be willing to not have it all figured out, because no one ever does. So I've been reading this book by Dr. Benjamin Hardy, Be Your Future Self Now. And one thing he said is, if you're not in the arena, then you're not evolving. Not being in the arena is failing by default. So for a lot of years, I wasn't really intentional about my art. I was creating art, but I was really just exploring. I didn't have a plan, which is fine. That was good for the period of my life that I was in. But when I set out to take my art seriously 2 years ago, I knew that I needed to have a purpose behind it. And I needed to put myself in the arena. Otherwise, I was just going to end up with a closet or closets full of art by the time I died. I'm going to read you a quote by Theodore Roosevelt. He said, "It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat." Your why has to be strong enough to see you through triumph and defeat. So that's just a bit of encouragement from me this morning as a stay-at-home mom and artist. One thing I forgot to mention is, if you are interested in learning to draw, if you're a beginner drawer, I have a beginner drawing ebook that I would love to share with you. So if you click on the link at the beginning of the description below the video, you can go right to the download for that, and that will kind of set you on a path to begin drawing. If you've made it this far into the video, hitting my planet, thank you so much for watching. Please like this video and then subscribe and hit the bell button, because then you can watch me on my journey as I am developing my art and growing my art business. It's really exciting for me, and I'm hoping that I have some things to share and that might be helpful to you along the way. Thank you so much for watching.